Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this special committee of the whole meeting. The Planning Act requires the town to hold at least one public meeting on any proposed Town of Newmarket zoning bylaw amendment. The purpose of today's public meeting is to hear from anyone who has an interest in the application for a zoning bylaw amendment related to 195 Harry Walker Parkway North. The effect of this application is to permit the temporary use of the property as the headquarters for Community Living Newmarket and Aurora for up to 3 years. If you wish to be notified of any subsequent meetings regarding this matter, please complete the further request form using one of the iPads located on the front table near the entrance of the council chambers. Please note that in accordance with the Planning Act, the Ontario Municipal Board may dismiss an appeal to the board without holding a hearing if the appellant failed to make oral submissions at the public meeting or provide written submissions to council prior to adoption of the application. We thank you for your interest and participation in tonight's meeting.
Okay, we are just dealing on the special committee of the whole with the one item tonight related to 195 Harry Walker Parkway North and a temporary rezoning or bylaw that would allow for temporary zoning. And Matthew Peverini of our planning department is going to provide us a presentation. Matthew.
Okay, good evening, members of the committee. My name is Matthew Peverini of the Planning Department here at the town, and today I'll be speaking on the matter of the town-initiated temporary use zoning bylaw amendment at the lands known municipally as 195 Harry Walker Parkway North. Before I begin, a brief agenda. I'll start with some background information on the matter before us, followed by the town's proposal. Then I'll briefly touch on the planning framework to justify the proposal and outline the town's recommendation to council. At conclusion of the presentation, I'll open the floor to any questions or concerns. So once again, the subject lands are located at 195 Harry Walker Parkway North, located in the northeast quadrant of the town in Ward 3, on the east side of Harry Walker Parkway, just north of Journey's End Circle. The lands are indicated in red on the visual on the slide. Community Living Newmarket Aurora has entered into a lease arrangement on the property for purposes of running its operations and programs on a temporary basis. Community Living is a nonprofit charitable organization which provides support to individuals with intellectual disability. Their existing headquarters are undergoing renovations. The lease is intended to begin in September of 2017 and is expected to be up to 2 years. The subject lands are currently zoned heavy employment, EH, by the Town of Newmarket zoning bylaw 2010 as amended. The zoning currently does not permit office or institutional day center uses to be located on the property. Office and institutional day center uses as defined by the bylaw are most closely related to the activities undertaken by Community Living. So this has prompted the need for a temporary use zoning bylaw. Thus, the Town of Newmarket has initiated a temporary use zoning bylaw amendment application on the subject lands to permit office and institutional day center uses on the property for up to 3 years. A letter from the property owner to the town has been received advising that there is no objection to the proposed temporary use zoning bylaw amendment for up to 3 years. Further, there has been no objection to date on the file. Just to touch on the planning framework, sections 39 and 34 of the Planning Act allow for the approval of the temporary use bylaw where the proposed use is otherwise prohibited by the bylaw. The proposed use must conform with the official plan and specify the time for which the authorization is in effect. The subject lands are designated business park mixed employment in the official plan, to which the permitted uses outlined can be seen on the excerpt on the slide. The use to be noted in the official plan designation includes businesses and professional offices, so this temporary use does conform to the official plan. So to conclude, planning staff is satisfied that the proposed uses associated with Community Living Newmarket Aurora are consistent with those permitted in the Town of Newmarket official plan, and planning staff recommend the adoption of bylaw number 2017-40 to temporarily amend and add office and institutional day center uses on the subject lands municipally known as 195 Harry Walker Parkway North for up to 3 years. That concludes the presentation, and the floor is now open to any questions or concerns.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Any questions or comments from members of council? Councillor Twinney?
Thank you. I don't know if you received a letter from the MTO today with regards to this application. Can you comment on that or at all, or if it's anything that we need to deal with?
Thank you. Yeah, through you, Deputy Mayor. We did receive the letter. Just at the end of the day, actually, what we can advise is the property does have a site plan agreement, an executed site plan agreement from 2003, and we do have an MTO permit for the parking area that's adjacent to their right-of-way. So we have an existing permit from them, which seemed to be what they were asking for. So we'll be contacting them in the next few days to clarify and to remind them of the permit that we have and to clarify the intent of the use. It's not any new construction. I think they were also referring to any new
Right.
construction and
Which is not, yeah.
the need for fences and things like that. And so we'll be contacting them in the next few days to clarify, and I don't see an issue with their letter at all.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, and just, I know there are some representatives from community living here, and literally a half an hour ago, we received an email letter from Ministry of Transportation advising us that this is within the what's referred to as a permit control area, MTO permit control area, and they have some areas of concern. I think for certain 2 of them are not probably an issue, and hopefully with the site plan, none of them are, but the one area that I think you should, Jason Unger from planning is going to be in touch with MTO, but you should probably be in touch with Jason as well to understand, because I don't know the way you read it, Jason, but it seems a little ambiguous as to whether the fencing question is related to new construction or is a standalone issue. How did you read that?
Thank you. The way I initially read it is that it was related to new construction. If there's
Okay.
Having said that, we did a quick Google map check, and it looks like, well, and actually the existing site plan agreement shows a fence along the property line, so I think it's satisfied anyway.
Okay, so hopefully it's not an issue, but staff will be checking with MTO, and if there's any issues, I'm sure they'll be in touch with yourselves as well. Fair enough. Any other questions from anybody on, any members of council? Okay, seeing none, so can we just have a motion to receive the presentation? Councillor Twinney, Councillor Kerwin, all those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, now the second, after the presentation, the second part of the agenda is the public hearing itself, or the public hearing matters. So is there anybody here in attendance this evening that would like to speak to this issue? Okay, I think we're good. Nobody would like to speak to the issue. In that case, can I have a motion to receive the correspondence that we've received, specifically the MTO correspondence, but any and all correspondence? Councillor Twinney, Councillor Vague, all those in favor? And that's carried. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? So moved. Councillor Kerwin, Councillor Quapis, all those in favor? That's carried. I just remind everybody that's the committee of the whole. We still have a council meeting in which to ratify it in. You're welcome to stay, but I don't expect anything would radically change in that time. And unfortunately, to members of council, we're going to have to recess for 5 to 10 minutes so that they can boot up the system for council, for the recorded votes, et cetera. So we will have to take a 5 to 10 minute break. The closer everybody stays, the quicker we can get restarted if it goes quicker than scheduled.